So sorry about the delay. That whole getting COVID thing.
But you've turned a corner here.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna die anymore.
Yeah, which is good.
No, it sucked, but it wasn't. My life was never in danger. I don't want to play that up, but definitely did not feel stellar for a few days.
Which is alright.
So,
Everybody needs a break.
It's true. And we got some new news too, huh? Sound a little clearer today?
Yeah, a little bit.
This is kind of like the first game of our pro season.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in the actual show.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. That's what you call a teaser, folks.
Yeah. We're getting a little better at this thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's stop messing around.
Should we hit it?
Let's hit it.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin.
What's up, party people? James Dorn coming to you post-COVID live from the Roadhouse in Appleton, Wisconsin. And with me, as always, is the guy who knows the sea is foaming like a bottle of beer. The guy who knows the wave is coming, but he ain't got no fear. Aaron Rohde.
That's me.
Classic Weezer song.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Their new fall edition of the Seasons album comes out on Thursday, I believe.
So I really loved Spring. Spring had some phenomenal tracks on it. And then Summer, I was kind of like it was okay. Like, it didn't get me excited for any of the tracks.
I think that was more of a musical masterpiece than it was anything else.
Right. Just coming off of Van Weezer and OK Human, and then having just something after that. It was hard.
Yeah.
But you can't operate at that level forever.
No, you can't.
And then what I find is interesting too, I know you had looked at their website. The vinyl releases are going to have extra tracks.
Yeah.
At least one.
And they're also going to come out next year.
Right. So if you are a vinyl collector, which I'd be surprised if you're not, and you're listening to our podcast.
Especially this far into it.
Especially this far into it. But the delay on making an album is something like 9 months out for the vinyl version.
It sucks.
Good example. I literally just bought the Silk Sonic album.
And that was a early 2021 project.
Right. Aaron did not buy it yet. He said he felt like the steam was taken out of it a little bit.
Yeah, it just doesn't quite hit as hard for me right now as it did. It may. I mean, things go in cycles, so we'll see.
I will say, though, the pressing, it sounds really good. I got the standard black edition. I ordered it off Amazon because when I ordered it, we didn't have a record store in town, and it's not a bad pressing. It's not noisy. It was pretty dang flat. So, whoever put that together, and I just love hearing Bootsy Collins.
That's true.
Yeah, that was top notch.
And so, Bruno Mars, you can't go wrong with Bruno.
Right. But hopefully, going back to Weezer, hopefully the rest of their releases are good for that. And then I'd really love to see a box set. Yeah. I would be shocked if Weezer did not do a Seasons box set at the end.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd be foolish not to. You'll get those people who buy it all twice.
Like me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to buy it twice, but I'll definitely buy it.
For sure.
So, let's get some of the bumpin' news going. So, Britney Spears released her first music since 2016. Released 8/26, titled Hold Me Closer. This is a duet with Sir Elton John. This would be her first new music since her conservatorship running her life was lifted. Aaron and I listened to it right before we started recording. Aaron, what'd you think?
It was just okay. I mean, it doesn't do much for me.
Right. So basically, if you haven't heard it, what it is it's a mashup with two of Elton's songs, The One and Tiny Dancer, and Spears is singing the lyrics to both over kind of a bouncy club beat. And this was Elton's idea because he says he's a big fan of Britney. I wasn't impressed.
I mean, there's nothing to judge musically. The production is average. I mean,
The music sounded good, but I don't feel like it was anything special.
no.
I mean, there was some, guitar stuff in the background that wasn't bad. Britney's voice was incredibly muted. Like, I felt like
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, I felt like the old recording of Elton singing Tiny Dancer in the background was more clear than her voice was.
Yeah.
So my question for you, is there a place for her in pop music anymore?
Modern pop music?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. If you follow any of her stuff, she's really still quite erratic, posting half-naked pictures of herself on Instagram constantly. There's constant reports of her feuding with her teenage boys and stuff like that. I just don't think that she has the mind for pop music anymore.
No, I don't think so. I look at all the pop artists we have now, and yes, they're crazy, but they're not Britney crazy.
I think she was probably very constructed when she was popular, and now those people are kind of out of the picture. And
she's got no clue which direction to go in now.
Right, and she's kind of like Kim Kardashian, where people just want to know the crazy crap she's these days.
That's pretty accurate.
All right, so let's flip to the next page here. So, a rap story. Capitol Records drops their first virtual rapper, FN Mecca, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, following allegations of cultural appropriation and racism. So if you're like me, your first question is, what's a virtual rapper?
When I hear virtual rapper, I think of like all these Tupac and Biggie concerts that go on, but it's just a hologram of them on stage.
So
that's kind of what I think.
When I hear him, I think of like that singing show that was on not that long ago, where they had like an avatar of them, and then they actually sang the song, but you had no idea what they looked like.
That's true.
But what it actually is, it's a algorithmically modeled program that goes and pulls songwriting. It gets its songwriting, its lyrics from thousands of data points across gaming, social media, music, and it's just programmed to mimic. And in this case, it got a lot of attention and a lot of concerns for its use of the N-word. So, not to be stereotypical, but chances are this is probably some white guy who made this program. And I did look up a picture of him. He had like greenish blue like dreads, and he had like a grill, and he looks almost Fortnite-ish in his appearance. And so he lasted 2 weeks on Capitol Records.
I get it, but I think, if it's pulling lyrics and stuff from all this content that's out there, it makes sense that there are racial slurs in there.
Right, because honestly, how many rap songs can you hear these days that at least some point in the album they don't use the N-word?
Right.
Like the N-word's going to be on the album title that I'm not going to read later that I have to that I reviewed.
We'll preface it by saying neither of us support using that stuff, but it's hard to ignore that it's there.
It's a cultural thing, and I'm not part of that culture, so I can't use it.
Right.
So, all right. So, some more rap news. Michael Harry O'Harris broke the news on Kevin Garnett's KG Certified that Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg are reportedly working on a new album. No doubt this will be in NFT format, as we had seen them pull off the majority of their classic music in favor of the Death Row NFT format. So, when you hear Dre and Snoop are making a new album, what do you think?
I think of a very smoky studio.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if Dre's aneurysm affected any of his musical abilities.
If the Super Bowl halftime show that we got in February is any indicator, I don't think it will have, but you never know. Things can progress from then to now. I think Snoop and Dre are very good at what they do as long as they stay in their lane.
Right. I don't think they can rap about the street level stuff anymore.
Right. I mean, Snoop Dogg and Eminem just released a collab a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed it, and I think Dre produced it, if I'm not mistaken. So if it's more stuff like that, I'm all for it.
Yeah. No, I mean, they got talent. They're great, and I mean, obviously, that's not my main genre of music, but
I'm getting there.
you're working
Turning
on
it
it.
into it.
All right.
I will say that I'm not gonna buy an NFT just to listen to it.
No,
I will stream it. I might buy a physical copy of it, but
I don't
No
know if they're
shot
gonna,
on
I don't know
paying
that
for
they're
an
gonna I don't know if they're gonna release one. It'd be interesting to see if in a couple of years Kanye goes, okay, we're gonna put a physical copy out now.
Speaking of Kanye, has his STEM player gotten any updates or anything that we know of?
I can honestly say I haven't kept track of it. I know that he's been working real hard on his shoes, his shoe line, and
Yeah, that's true.
courting new people there for his clothing line.
He's an interesting guy too.
Yeah, you mean Yee?
Yeah.
We get called by his proper name. All right, 90s hip hop superstar Maze reported on Instagram he is signing with Death Row. And my number one question is, does anybody listen to Maze anymore?
I don't know if anybody ever really did, to be honest with you.
I just kind of thought of him as the guy that danced in the background on Puffy's videos.
Yeah, it's very accurate. I know one of his albums in the early 2000s, the album cover had him wearing a Brewers hat. So my older brother was very happy to buy it just because he was wearing a Brewers hat and repping Wisconsin. But that's all I know about Mace.
Yeah, I'm sure he got paid to put that hat on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Oh, you know what? This isn't on my prepped list, but did you happen to see any of the stuff from the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert?
I saw that his son was playing drums at one point.
Yeah,
I thought that
Shane.
was super cool.
Yeah, so they brought him out. I'm sure most of the people who would listen to this had probably seen it,
Yeah.
but they brought him out, and they, as the last song, and they played "There Goes My Hero," and he played the drums with them. And boy, did Dave let him shine, and you just watch him, and he's just going to town on those drum sets. Like, he's just hitting so freaking hard. There's so much emotion when he was playing. Like, I don't have a problem admitting this. I cried.
Yeah.
That was because you could just because there's that part of the song where like, "There goes my hero, watch him as he goes." To me, I'm like, this is like him saying goodbye to his dad,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's super cool for him to be able to do that too.
Yeah, and they had all kinds of people come out, like AC/DC, The Darkness showed up. Rumor is that the drummer from The Darkness is going to be the new drummer for the Foo Fighters, but that's not been confirmed. Yeah. He's the son of one of the members of Queen. So, yeah, and that was that's one of Taylor's favorite bands. All right, so in sad news, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member and drummer for Buddy Holly and the Crickets passed away. His name was Jerry Allison, if I'm sorry I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Passed away at age 82. He was noted for co-writing the song "That'll Be the Day," Peggy Sue, and "Not Fade Away" with Buddy, which some of Buddy's most notable songs. And we wish his family, some peace and, knowing that his history will live on long before him, for sure. All right, and then last bit of news I got prepped. Punk rock group NFX will be calling it quits in 2023 after their tour. This was confirmed by their frontman, Fat Mike, via his Instagram. The band was originally formed in LA in 1983, and I know you love you some punk music.
I do love some punk music, especially this time of year.
Yeah, what is it, fall? Is that
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it just makes me want to rage a little bit.
Yeah? What are you listening to these days?
A little bit of everything. I'm still on a Magnolia Park kick.
Did they just put out a new song?
They did a couple. I was listening to some Smash Mouth yesterday because we saw that the Black Friday list came out.
Yeah, the Black Friday stuff, which unfortunately I got to try to get off of work for. It's actually had a couple good things on there. Check it out. I'm definitely interested in getting the All-Star Smash Mouth's Fush You Mang, which is a play off of Al Pacino from Scarface.
Yeah. Fun fact, did you know they recently did a cover of Never Gonna Give You Up?
I did not. They got their new singer, too, because...
It's hilarious.
check that out.
It's awesome. But yeah, did that.
Rick Astley's, that album's actually one of the Record Store Day stuff.
It is.
Albums.
Yep. I thought about checking out that one too.
It's hard because, I would just be buying it for that one.
The one,
song.
yeah, right. It's kind of like Wham.
He recreated that music video for, I want to say, American Insurance.
It's some TV commercial.
It was one of the insurance companies. He's wearing the outfit, dancing, recreating some of the shots.
Yeah. I rediscovered Matchbox 20 this morning when looking for an album for you. So I've been playing that one quite a bit today. It's a great album.
Which one are you talking about?
The one with the guy's face on the cover with like the pilot helmet, the leather helmet.
Funny enough, I just ordered that from Platinum Records. Got it home. It's a solid album.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
Last night before the football game was a lot of hip hop stuff. So a little bit of everything here.
Yep. All right. So Aaron might have to pull his phone out for this next segment.
Oh gosh, I'm scared.
So one of the things we talked about recently, this was Aaron's. I pulled this off of a list we got prepped from a ways back. It's top 5 records in your collection you should probably get rid of, and why it doesn't fit. So my number 1, and these are in no particular order. Andy Gibbs' "Flowing Rivers" from 1977. So I got this weird appreciation with disco for some reason.
Yes, you do.
I don't know what it is. And disco was making a comeback not that long ago. I think it was 2020 or 2021. A bunch of disco albums came out. And obviously Andy Gibbs no longer with us, and one of the members of the Bee Gees. I don't know why I keep this. It's considered critically to be a good quality album. I never listened to it, really. I think I listened to it when I got it from, I think it's one of the ones I got from Armando. I really should just get rid of it. It's probably not something that's ever going to be in my heavy rotation. The next one, this one I definitely got from Armando because I remember getting it. It's a promo copy of The Family. The album's called The Family, released in 1985. This is, I think it was produced by Prince, if I remember correctly. And they even got a cover of one of the songs at the end. This one I have listened to twice. It's nothing special. It's kind of like one of those albums I would probably put on in the background. And I asked Chelsea, I'm like, do you think we're going to listen to this? And she's like, yeah, we might put it on the background. And it's just
So that's a no without saying it.
Right, but if I'm feeling that on the fence about it, I should just get rid of it. Yeah. Honestly, if it doesn't feel special, I don't get excited about it. And over the last couple months, I got easily rid of probably close to 60 records. And then Kenny Rogers' "Eyes That See in the Dark" from 1983. The only reason I have this album is because it's got "Islands in the Stream." And that's just a classic song.
Yeah, I feel like there are a few in everybody's collection that you have just for 1 or 2 songs on the album.
Right. And I got, these are not on my list, so we're going to take a sidetrack here. I have a Lawrence, technically 2 Lawrence Welk records. I got one actual album, Champagne Dreams, I think it's called, which is a full album. And then I got a 7-inch single, which is him doing the Addams Family theme, because he wrote that. But the other one I keep just because my grandma that I love to death liked him. It's more of a respect to her. All right, the next one's going to be a little bit of a surprise. John Lennon's "Double Fantasy."
That is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, so this is an album he did with Yoko Ono. He got killed 3 weeks after the reviews, or after it was released, and then it had really pretty negative reviews initially, and then when he passed away, everybody changed their mind on it. It's not a good album. Yoko Ono's on it. John had 1 or 2 good songs by himself. Unless you're a hardcore Beatles fan, please don't hate me forever. I just don't think it's a great album. I'm not a fan of it. And
weird, because usually once artists pass away, people flip around and they start to love some of those not great albums.
Well, McCartney's got a couple like that too. One of the albums I sold not that long ago was McCartney 3, which is one of his more recent releases that they redid half a dozen times in different colors and different mixes. And I do not think it was very good. And I'm like, I'm just keeping this because he was a Beatle. And then McCartney 2 sucked too. Sorry, we're being super negative today. But I got rid of that. And then the last one I got on my list here, this one's going to be another surprise. Jimi Hendrix Experience Paris 67. This was an RSD release. And I love Jimi Hendrix, but I'm going to be real straight with you. Like, you put that on, the audio's not great on most of it. This just seemed like it was probably like a cash grab by someone from his estate. They're just like, oh, let's put out another Jimmy album.
I'm sure that's exactly what it was too.
These fools are going to buy it. And I didn't think it was good. So anyway, Aaron, what do you got?
I'm trying to kind of comb through here. I've got a few. The first one is Jaquan Hood Hop. This is one that I got from Armando because it's got the song Tipsy on it.
Is it kind of like my Kenny Rogers where you're like, I like this one song?
I got it for the one song. It's the first song on the album. And I think when I first listened to it, I texted you. I'm like, this is so bad that it's funny.
That's not that one song or the rest of the album?
The rest of the album. It's awful. Another one is Ghostface Killah, Iron Man.
Is that Killah?
Killah, A-H. This is one that I bought because Armando had a hip-hop auction, and I was trying to get as much as I could. This is very early on.
This is when you were just a plucky, excited collector where you're going to buy it. I'm going to get my numbers up.
Yes, and I paid more than I should have for an album that I didn't know, and to be completely honest, I've never listened to it, so I just have it. It's in the sleeve upstairs and just kind of sits there.
Yeah, buddy, you've not purged your collection at all.
I haven't touched my collection in weeks.
That's harsh.
It sucks.
I think you should toss a few things and get some fresh blood in that group.
Yeah. The next one is Kanye West's The College Dropout. This is nothing against the album because I really love this album, but the copy that I bought and the batch that was shipped to Exco, every single one of them had, so it's a double LP album, and it's got 2 of the first record in it. Every single one that they had there.
Aaron's just going to order it from Amazon, swap it out,
sketchily return it.
Send it back.
Next one is Kate Bollinger's A Word Becomes a Sound. This is one that I bought from Armando for $1 or $2. And I think
what's the cover of that look like?
It's yellow. It's a 45. You have it too.
Yeah.
But it was $3-4 maybe, and I'm like, yeah, I'll try.
I probably paid more than you for that because I think I bought that. You could have.
But it was one of those, I'll try it kind of things, and
which we really haven't been doing lately. We haven't been just like trying stuff.
I used to when it was something, if it was $2-3, I'd take a chance at it, but that one didn't work out. I'm trying to go through here. I got one more I have to pick.
Is it the banjo music?
I can't say that.
Yeah, it's because your dad's listening.
Yes. Ooh, I got one.
Biggie.
No. I thought about that. Outcast, Stankonia.
Yeah?
And this is another one that I bought because it was Outcast, and I didn't want to get the album that has Hey Ya and all that stuff on it.
Well, it's got Roses on there, too. That's a good song.
But that's why I picked this one, and to me, that's the only reason I have that album, and it's not my favorite. It's good, but it's not my favorite, and it could probably go.
Yeah. All right. So it wasn't that long ago the artist Lotto released a song in 2021 called Big Energy, which sampled a well-known song by the Tom Tom Club from 1981 called Genius of Love. And then Mariah Carey in 1995 had sampled it for Fantasy, for Daydream. What do you think about that? Just like, same song getting sampled multiple times.
I think that speaks to how good the original song is.
And like Tom Tom Club's like, whatever.
Yeah. I don't mind it because I'm a big hip hop fan and I know a lot of people sample the same kinds of songs and melodies and stuff. If you're sampling it and using it in kind of a different way and you're not taking the same 6-7 note chunk and not using the same exact melody, I think it's good and it's fresh. But if you're using the same stuff and rehashing the same segments over and over, I think that gets a little old and repetitive and boring.
Yeah, what if it was like, hey, let's sample the Mariah Carey part?
Yeah, right. Because everybody's trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because there's quite a bit of gap in between these two. I'm not like 100% against sampling and stuff, but you know, I get tired of it at times, and that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, so Aaron, do you ever drink any coffee?
I love drinking coffee.
So, have you ever considered trying Green Day's coffee?
I have not, because from what I've seen, it can be fairly pricey.
Actually, I don't think it was too bad for like a standard size bag. It's like $15 with, and that's with shipping included.
That's not bad.
No, I don't think that's that bad at all. Anyway, so talking about Oakland Coffee Works, founded in 2015 by Green Day members Billy Joe Armstrong, Mike Dirt, and Trey Cool, which props to him for keeping that name up all these years.
Yeah, right.
As the story goes, Mike was surfing one day, found a plastic bag in the water, and thought that was kind of messed up. The company aims to be set a standard in compostability in coffee packaging. December of 2015, the Financial Times named Oakland as the world's first U.S.-based coffee company to sell fully compostable 12-ounce bags and single-serve coffee cups. So, Aaron, how long do you think one of those K-cups lasts? In the trash.
A long time.
500 years.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, and then I got a video from Mike after my first shipment came, and he was talking about how like their K-cups, it's not really a K-cup, it looks like a pouch. 90 days, same with the bag too, 90 days is back to dirt. And then they said that it was like something like there's enough K-cups used every year to wrap around the earth like 3 times. And then all the coffee's organically grown, hand-picked, fair trade. Beans are from small organic farms, primarily in high-altitude regions of South America. And you can buy it directly from their site. They offer subscriptions, and there's tons of merch like all good bands have. But was the coffee good? So I ordered the first one, the father of all ... dark roasts, which is a play off their most recent album from their 2020 release. The site says that Billy Joe created the flavor, calling it the darkest of dark, yet shockingly smooth. Honestly, I loved it. Like, I've had some dark coffee, and it was kind of like really acidic. And sometimes you cover that up with like, I don't know, use like creamer or anything.
I don't drink mine black.
You would definitely appreciate this then, because it was actually pretty freaking smooth, and that was surprising. So, then today I got another bag of that, and then I got Atomic Garden, and that one had like little notes of honey in it. It was actually pretty good.
That does sound good.
So yeah, I'd recommend it. Came with some stickers, cool notes, guitar picks. It was socially conscious and really good quality, so I definitely would recommend it.
I'll have to check that out. That does sound really good.
Yeah, no, can't say enough nice things about it. I read or watched some other reviews online, and it was pretty popular all over. So school kind of beating it out of you a little bit.
A little bit.
I was gonna say you seem a little tired today.
Well, school and then football. We were gone until midnight last night, and then wake up for flag football this morning. Run around with 3rd and 4th graders all morning.
Yeah, and I'm sure they all follow directions really well.
Every single one of them.
So, if you watch our podcast page on Facebook, I had my 8-year-old's birthday party last night at a park, and homie decided to take up his extra invitations and just start randomly handing them out to people. So then the parents were like, "Hey, can my sibling come?" So we had enough food and everything. But it was way more kids than we expected. Thank God some of the parents came and hung out at the park, and then stayed there with us. Otherwise, that would have been absolutely insane. I had the distinct pleasure of putting together a playlist for them. A lot of Kids Bop.
That part's fun, but the rest of it just sounds awful.
Yeah, I kind of faded in the background and pretend to be like a waiter, and I was like serving food and like cleaning up after the kids because they had this project where they chipped away the dirt, and there were like jewels in there and stuff because of the Minecraft theme party. So Archer had a ton of fun, but it was an exhausting day.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, then my wife's going up north tonight, so guess who's playing video games and drinking beer tonight?
That sounds wonderful too.
This guy.
Yep.
Probably play some records too.
What are you playing right now?
So actually, let me kind of go over some of my more recent purchases because I did get a couple not that long ago. I actually found something that wasn't in my Discogs page. My big George Harrison All Things That Must Pass. So one of the cool things I got Tedeschi Trucks band Everybody Talks, which is a heavily scalped album. I happened to find that. Actually, do you remember when I was going to buy you the Daft Punk?
Yep.
It was actually from that same company off eBay.
Okay.
And then I didn't get it yet, but I got Oasis, one of their albums coming in. And then I got Cobra Starship's Hot Mess.
That's a good album.
That's a great
That's
album.
A really good album.
I got Jamiroquai's Traveling Without Moving. It's their 25th anniversary edition on yellow. It actually looks really nice, and I hadn't really listened to Jamiroquai since around when I was in high school. It's actually pretty good. Have you ever listened to much Jamiroquai?
Mm-hmm. My dad has, but I have not.
That was one of the albums I was toying around with getting you. And then I got Third Eye Blind's Third Eye Blind.
That's a good album too.
It's a great album. And funny enough, my Blizzard of Oz and my Discogs was incorrect. I had it listed as an MP3 file. So I deleted that out. Got Nancy Sinatra's Boots, Sammy Hagar's VOA, Cage Elephant.
I do like Cage the Elephant.
Yeah, I got like 3 or 4 of their albums, and I was talking to Seth at the Rolling Winds, and he's like, "Yeah, we sell a lot of Cage the Elephant."
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. It's just something like in the area. Oh, and then I got Alkaline Trios. Maybe I'll Catch Fire.
Okay.
Have you ever listened to any Alkaline Trio?
I have not.
I think you would definitely like them. It's a little moody.
I have seen them being sold quite a bit more recently too.
Yeah, because the lead singer, that's the guy that more than likely just got the boot from Blink-182.
Okay.
So.
They must have had a repress of something recently too.
Yeah, they had it was like this EP that was half them and half this other band, and then they were doing each other's songs, which I thought was a cool
That's
idea.
kind of a cool concept.
Right, it was. And then a couple weeks later, they got the Maybe I'll Catch Fire. They have God Damn It there as well, which is another good album, which I might go back and buy that. Maybe I'll go to the record store after I leave here.
Right.
Wife's gone, and she never listens to our podcast.
I'm very excited. I've got some Creed incoming.
Oh, yeah. So let me tell you a story about Creed. So picture this.
I enjoy Creed.
Nobody else does. Go to the record store, and the Rolling Winds in Appleton, and I know Aaron had mentioned a few days beforehand that he was looking for, what's the album? It's Creed.
Human Clay.
Human Clay. Easily I think they only had maybe 2 albums, and this was their big selling one with Can You Take Me Higher. Mm-hmm. Very popular. I listened to that a lot when it came out. I don't think it's a bad song. I don't want to sound like I'm trashing Aaron's taste.
It's a great song. What are you talking about?
So I was flipping through at the store, and I saw it. I sent Aaron a picture because I was doing pretty much nearly an entire lap around the store, talking to Seth there, who I love, and he's like, what are you getting? And I was like, I'm probably gonna get this Creed record for Aaron, and he immediately started in on me. He's like, sure, it's for Aaron. I pulled out my phone and I showed him, like, look at the text message, and he's like, how long ago did you prep that for this? And then
little does he know that I've been looking for that for months.
Yes, and I'm gonna go back to my house and bring it here just because I want you to have your record after I get done talking on the show. Then him and I were talking about other stuff, completely different things, and I said I'd probably buy some Nickelback if you had it here too. And
he was like, "Let me go in the back. I'm sure we've got one in there."
We should talk about Nickelback's new song to before we end the show today.
I haven't heard that one.
You listened to it before I did. So anyway, so I'm getting ready to leave, and at this point, some other guy came in. We had been talking about Alkaline Trio, and it was like, real good conversation. And that guy came in really late in the thing. He was engaging in the conversation. So I'm walking out the door, and Seth announces, "Hey, you enjoy that Creed album right there?" And I just died laughing. And I turned around, and I'm like, "I'm not even gonna fight you. I'm gonna let you have that one." And the other guy was smirking at me. I just want to stress this was all in good nature. He wasn't being rude to me.
No, he was being rude to me.
Yeah. Oh, believe
That's
me, if you and
amazing.
I ever end up in there again, I'm like, this is the guy that likes Creed.
Absolutely. I have no problem admitting.
All right, so tell me what you thought about the new Nickelback song.
Which one is it again?
San Quentin.
Oh, that's the really, really heavy one.
Yeah, why don't we, we'll plan to pause because we don't want to play copyrighted music, but I have not listened to this song, so I'm going to do it here first, okay? I'm going to play the song. You queuing it up?
I got it up if you want.
All right, so give me a second just because I want to say this, and then we'll pause. So I've not listened to this yet, so we're gonna listen to it, and you're gonna hear my reaction live on the show. All right, here we go. We're gonna take a break.
So, thoughts?
So that's actually super interesting. Like, had you played that for me and not told me who it was, and then been like, "Who is this?" I probably wouldn't have guessed that was Nickelback.
No, I think I said, right when it first started, it sounded almost Slipknotty.
Yeah, the beginning, very Slipknot-esque, I would agree. I don't think it maintains that through the whole song.
No.
Just kind of like the opening part. And what I said to Aaron, which you won't be able to hear, is it actually reminds me of like late 90s Metallica.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I really like it musically. I think it's well done that way. The vocal style's not my favorite.
Yeah, you're not a big Chad Kroeger guy?
No. It's almost like he's screaming, but he's not screaming kind of thing.
Right, and like James Hetfield used to just scream before he learned how to sing properly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I will not gonna buy that album probably when it comes out, but I will probably stream it and like check the rest of it out because I will say they piqued my interest.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all you Nickelback haters, get your fingers ready to type on the old Facebook when that album drops out.
I do like me some Nickelback too. I don't know why they get so much hate.
Yeah, well, people hate successful people.
Well,
that's why people hate us.
They hate us because they hate us.
Exactly. All right, suppose we best get
It's a good transition.
Getting on to the reviews. So, I think typically you like to go first, or that's how we usually do it. So, whenever you're ready, buddy.
I can go first. So,
I don't even remember what I got you anymore.
So this is Boogie Down Productions' Criminal Minds.
Yes. Hey, quick side note. They released that as a RSD Essential, so it's not a record store day, but it's like, like one of their special pressing.
Interesting.
So like you go to a record store right now in some places and probably buy that, and I want to say it was either white or silver.
Oh, that's cool. That's
so
cool.
I liked it. I might buy it. But
so
anyway.
this album was still sealed, and it's a 94 release, 1994 I believe, or 93, somewhere in there.
It was a 94 press, but that's not when the album came out.
Still sealed. It's the debut album for this group. And when your name is Boogie Down Productions, you need an album that is well produced. Just throw that up.
And I would think almost like just purely on the name alone, like a Digital Underground clone.
Yeah, essentially.
That's what I would expect.
So this is considered one of the influential hip-hop albums of all times. It's considered by most to be the first gangster rap album. In 2003, the album was ranked number 444 on Rolling Stone magazine's list of 500 best albums of all time. When the list was redone in 2020, it was number 239.
Well, that's quite a climb.
Yeah, so it moved up.
So people must have discovered it.
Right. So it was released in 1987. I consider this like the golden age of hip-hop. Everybody's getting the feel for it. It was light and it was fun. But this album is more of that with some of the same lyrical content that would become popular soon with groups like NWA, Public Enemy, Wu-Tang Clan, and others like that. I think it's very interesting that this album was released a year after Raising Hell by Run DMC, and they are polar opposites lyrically when you listen to them.
Run DMC is very positive.
Yeah, and it's a lot cleaner lyrically than Boogie Down is. The first song, Poetry, is one of the iconic songs off of the album. It's a class in poetry and rhyming and is silky smooth. You can barely hear where they are breathing. My only knock on this one is that there are too many scratching sounds used, and it can times drown out the lyrics, which are supposed to be the shining part here. 9mm Goes Bang is another classic song. It's hard not to recognize the chorus here. Wa-da-da-ding, wa-da-da-da-ding, listen to my 9mm go bang. It's a song about drugs, drug sting, and violence, which is fairly new for that time period.
And also, didn't it have kind of like a reggae vibe to it?
It did, yeah, especially in the chorus. Word from our sponsors kicks in with a public service announcement, which, again, is classic for the time, I think. And it's about watching for what they call sucker MCs. And then it kicks in with the horns and a smooth rhyming pattern. It's reminiscent of what Curtis Blow had going with his rhyming. And the timing is wonderful. It's not in your face and it's not overdone. One thing I do think is a tad overdone throughout the first half of the album is the fact they mention their name on every single song. It's usually I'm KRS-One and this or that, or DJ Scott LaRock on the beat, and then they go in like that. So it's kind of like DJ Khaled, but it's a little less annoying. I don't think they need to do that.
A lot of self-promoting.
Yeah. So I did put in here, I think by this point we know who's featured on the album, but again, it's very typical for that era of rap and hip-hop.
Yeah, they were pretty early on, so I guess they're trying something different.
Right. The second side opens with a sample of Back in Black on the song Dope Beat. I can honestly say I think it's the first time I've heard AC/DC sampled in a rap song, and it really works here.
That is a little surprising when you think about that.
It was actually really well done, and it was one of those that like 10 seconds into it, you're like, wait, I think I know that song. I gotta figure out what it is.
It'd be interesting to find out if at that point that was they got permission, or if they just did it. Yeah. And then I'd also be curious to find out too if when that happens, where it was before people went and got permission for that kind of stuff, like if retroactively like stuff gets worked out,
you get some royalties going back that way.
Right.
Overall, the second half of the album didn't hold me as much as the first half did. The song Super Ho is essentially a fun diss track about Scott LaRock, from what I gather. Basically poking fun at him, making accusations and jabs, with the punchline being, he is a super hoe. It's funny and it's just entertaining.
Because it's calling him a super hoe?
Yeah.
That is funny.
The final song is also the title track of the album. It samples the lyrical pattern of the Beatles in Hey Jude, which is another super creative, unexpected sample. The song gets back to the smooth rhyming like the first half of the album and ends things on a really good note. They even go on to say, we're not promoting violence, we're just having fun in this song. So overall, I can see why it's an iconic album and how it opened the door for groups like NWA and Wu-Tang after them. My only criticism is that there's almost too much effort to showcase the DJ skills in some of the production here. Where there could be musical bridges, there's lots of scratching and repetitive cuts of the same samples. Again, I think it's just a sign of the times. It's a very good album for rap heads, and it's probably a must-have in a collection of a true hip-hop and rap fan. Would I have bought this myself? Probably not, because I never heard of the group before. Will I be keeping it? Absolutely, and it's already gotten lots of playtime.
Good, I'm glad. Anytime I buy a rap album, because it's like your specialty, it's a little like, oh, hopefully that's not bad.
I think you did really well when you described it as like DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince met NWA, and like you smashed those two together, and that's what you did.
Yes. So for your next album, my good sir, is already in your possession. Actually, the last time we recorded, I already had it, so I just gave it to Aaron just because I know we're both busy and so on. So if you remember from our Mile of Music episode, I saw a relatively unknown artist that was heavily into like 70s rock, all things glam, all things like Mark Bolan and T-Rex. Jossie, and for those of you playing at home, it is, I believe, Gaysi.
So,
Or G, yeah. But it is pronounced Jossie. And that's even the name of the album, pronounced Jossie. So, on a beautiful, beautiful purple vinyl, which hopefully Aaron enjoys as much as I did. Limited to 500 copies with no black pressing coming down the pipeline. So truly, truly a limited edition album out of Alive Records.
And I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Hopefully, because we played a little bit of a sample for it when I was walking out the door on his phone, and Aaron seemed to like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So. All right. So the scope of doing my next review was not lost on me. All right. So Aaron got me Aaron, you want to tell me what the name of the album is that you got me?
Strictly for my fill in the blank.
Just trying to trick him there.
Yeah.
Strictly for my, you know the word. So I will not say that title. However, I will tell you what it stands for. It comes from Tupac's. It's called a backronym, which I had never heard that term before. But it is taking a word that was already established and making an acronym that fits it. For never ignorant in getting goals accomplished. So that was really great of Tupac taking something that's generally a negative and making it into a positive word. So this is his second studio album, released February 16th of 1993 on Interscope and Drive Records. So was his first album on Death Row?
I believe so.
Right. So yeah. So the album features numerous guest appearances, including Live Squad. Do you know Live Squad?
Mm-mm.
All right. Wicked, who would later become Mo Preem, future members of Thug Life and the Outlaws, Ice-T, Ice Cube, Tretch, Apache, Deadly Threat, Dave Hollister, and last but not least, including Digital Underground, which is a favorite of ours. From my understanding, Tupac was actually a member of Digital Underground before going solo.
Yeah, there's a strange history there that I never really truly fully understood.
Yeah, and I got kind of a thought about why I find that hard to believe. You know, I'll just talk about it now. I'm kind of off book here for a second. But when we get to that track, I may or may not have mentioned, his voice seems a little abrasive compared to the rest of the Digital Underground.
Very much.
So I find that a little surprising because I feel like he would have stuck on like a sore thumb. All right, so the album is known for its emphasis on Tupac's socio-political views. Interesting note for the vinyl release, side A featuring tracks 1 through 8 is labeled the Black Side, and then the second half is labeled the Dark Side.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it even says it on the back. The album has achieved platinum status. The first song, Holler If You Hear Me. Aaron, you said that I was going to probably know one song. Is that this song? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I love the energy of the song. I was immediately reminded me of kind of like House of Pain, which is, I'm sure, because they shared many of the same influences. I would describe this as kind of a pride song, not overly focused on being a badass and typical posturing that we hear in rap music, but just awesome throughout the whole entire song. A lot of classic 80s scratching, and it's a huge focus of the song. I love the little notes of piano sprinkled in late in the song. All right, track number 2, Pac's theme, considered to be an interlude, is what it says. Interesting track to have kind of early in the album. There's no rapping. It's interlacing of audio loops in the background. Nice change in format. Funny enough, when I get a little further down in the album, what I would find out is that the audio that they're repeating over and over is a speech from Dan Quayle, Vice President Dan Quayle.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'll tell you why a little later. So, track number 3, Point the Finger. Musically not as memorable, Tupac earns his rap stars, however. He's spinning raps fast and aggressive. At this point, I can see there is something different about his flow. He's still rapping, but not giving up a piece of the real G's, but he's rapping about not giving a piece to the real G's, but there's something about his delivery that elevates it to like an art form, and I really don't think many people could probably hold a candle to him these days.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it's just even someone as uneducated in rap as me is just it was impressive.
Yeah.
So, track number 4. It's another interlude, Something to Die For. I'm just gonna say I think he could have hung with the R&B charts. This was kind of like a softer kind of, easy listening kind of track. Track number 5, Last Words. We bust out the All-Stars, Ice Cube and Ice-T. So 3 of the most notable Ices. There is, of course, quality old school NWA vibe coming in fast and swinging. Cube is, as always, just serious and just on his game. Tupac easily hangs with the rest of the group and kind of outshines him at times. I'm not gonna lie. It just kind of feels like his words were hitting faster than everyone else's, almost like a 2 to 1 ratio. It was kind of a short song though. All right, side B, Soldier's Revenge. Starts with a cop shooting someone. The song is about the black man's struggle to be being murdered by cops. There is almost like a demonic voice singing backup. I don't know if this was him or if it was someone else. Do you know that? Because that actually reoccurred through a lot of the album. Do you know the voice I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's like one of his backup rappers or if it was him with some audio mix.
Or through and then a backing track or something.
Right. I think it's either him or I think it's someone else singing backup because it was real deep. All right, track 2 on this side, Peep Game. I just have to laugh when he said Vice President Dan Quayle can eat a dick up. So, this is a reference to Quayle calling for removal of Tupac's album Tupacalypse Now. Quayle believed that Tupac was partially to blame for some Texas troopers being shot, and the suspect had a cassette of this album in his truck. The family of the trooper would even go on to sue Interscope and Tupac over this. I'm sure it didn't go anywhere. I didn't do the research on that. So, Guess Who's Back, same side, really stripped down. Loved it. It was focusing on the rap and the art of the format. So just kind of took away a lot of the circumstance behind it. Represent 93. I noticed we dropped the 80s style for at least the most part, and what I mean by that is the scratching. This album's actually got a lot of scratching in it and 80s sound effects for a modern rap album. There's still notes of R&B. They do take a jab at House of Pain and shoot some love to TLC in this song. Keep Your Head Up. I love this song. It was a little slow, a little funky, almost had a soul bass line. I love that the song was decidedly pro-choice for women, just really respectful to women, which is unusual to hear it in a lot of rap albums.
So that's the one that I said if you've heard any on this album, it would have been that one.
Well, nope, I can say I didn't. All right, there's even a part of the song where they reference the 5 Stair Step song, Ooh Child. Not a sampling of the song, but someone's literally singing the chorus, which I love that song. You may remember it from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie that's more recently in pop culture. It also speaks very positively towards his mother. It's a very, very thoughtful song. All right, side D, I Get Around. This is the song that features Digital Underground. Compared to the heavy concepts of the rest of the album, Tupac's voice sounds rough and abrasive to the light-hearted raps of Shock G, which Shock G's delivery is silky and smooth as always. The song is about as light as the album gets, and it feels a bit out of place, although it is a decent track. Did you feel that way when you heard that?
Yeah.
They're just a little odd.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit the rest of the narrative.
Right, which I'm sure was just kind of like a friend service, because I don't think Digital Underground was doing much around that.
They had the Humpty dance, and that was about it.
Like, well, Tupac's blowing up. Deadly Venoms with Tretch and Naughty by Nature. Naughty by Nature, that's one of the albums we got, right? No, we got a Tribe Called Quest. Yeah. I don't know much about Naughty by Nature other than the few things we saw. Tretch easily keeps up with Tupac. I'm honestly a little surprised he doesn't get more respect. His rapping is the focus on the track most of the time. He's so fast you can't even hear the music. The interludes between the sections of rapping, you hear some light police sounds in the background. All right, so in conclusion, blending elements of 80s rap, soul R&B with prolific lyrics, it's powerful delivery. It's no surprise Tupac is regarded as one of the best. His activism is obvious, and it's definitely a focus of the lyrics, and I definitely respect that. Tupac had a lot of energy and a lot of skill, and I can only imagine the impact he would have had on the world of rap music and the world in general if he had not been taken from us at such a young age. I do think this album could have cut some of the tracks, as it feels as though it kind of loses its identity at times. I don't want to take away from the fact that Tupac, by all accounts, is an absolute legend. I think most people would struggle to think of someone who could keep up with him today. Would I have bought this album for myself? Probably not. He always invoked kind of strong opinions in people and kind of seemed unapproachable to me. Well, like, keep it, yes. Anyone who even has a passing rap collection would have to have something of his in it. He is iconic.
And that's exactly why I thought you needed one.
Yeah.
It's one of those, James doesn't have one of these. He needs one of these.
My mom, funny enough, always really liked Tupac. And I think that's kind of what kept me away from him for a long time. Because, long story short, we don't need to get into all the drama, but when I was younger, as many of us did, my mom and I didn't get along great. But I posted something about him being taken from us too soon, and then I mentioned that I got that album as a gift. She's like, "Oh, nice."
Next time she comes over, you'll have to play it for her.
Funny enough, she'd like that. My mom is very straight-laced now, but once upon a time, she was pretty hood.
I think everybody goes through that phase.
Yeah, my mom's not that much older than me, so.
So for your next one, I don't have it yet. It's on its way.
Aaron's avoiding the record store these days.
Yeah, I'm trying to save a little money.
Yeah, you got a wedding coming up. I get it.
I've got you Of Monsters and Men.
All right, let me pull my phone out because I'm going to find that.
I think it's something that is right up your alley.
Is that the name of the album or the artist?
The artist.
All right, I got the artist page up on my phone.
The album is My Head is an Animal.
2011. All right, well, you did a good job. I literally know absolutely nothing about this. The album cover doesn't look familiar. It's got a picture of I'm assuming it looks like an older man in some shorts on the beach with the water, the tide kind of coming in, and I don't know, is that a boat? It's either a boat or a building of some sort in the background. So
I think it's something that's right up your alley, but you would not buy for yourself.
Yeah,
it's very folky.
Okay. Yeah, I can't even say that I've ever heard the name before, so that'll be good. So one of the things we forgot to mention, if you could hear us a little better, there's a reason for that. We got a second mic.
Yes, and this is our first test run with it, and it seems like it's gone pretty well, so we should sound better going forward.
Right, and then we got headphones on so we can hear what we sound like. We made an effort to make sure that the mics were in a good spot and everything beforehand.
We can now hear how annoying we are, just like you guys can.
Right, so I guess, this is our pro game here.
Yeah.
We're professionals now. So.
Very loosely using that term.
Right. So, who knows, maybe this will finally get us off the fence and start doing some other podcasting as well that aren't just about records.
Or moving forward or something.
Yeah. So anyway, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Keep checking out the Facebook page for memes and news stories and so on. Let us know what you're listening to. You can definitely message us on the Facebook page if you want.
Drop us some suggestions. Yeah, we're always open to reviewing some fan choices too.
Yep. Send Aaron some messages telling him that he needs to go to the record store and buy some records.
Buy some Nickelback.
Buy some Nickelback or whatever. Whatever he wants, just get that turntable. Go, hey, did you see that U-turn made a new table?
That's a good point. Yeah, I did look at it.
So our boys at U-turn, who we love, we both have U-turn tables.
We can direct message you our addresses so you can send us one of these to try.
So our tables were, we'll just say, over $500 each, and they just released like a turntable that's over $1,000. But the nice thing is it has switches to change the speed rather than having to manually change the belt, which is my biggest gripe with my table. Mm-hmm. And then they claim that the new belts are silicone, so they're different.
Oh, interesting.
So for that alone, when we get done here, I'm going to go on their site, see if they have the belts listed separately, because I hate the way our belts stretch. Mm-hmm. But hey, U-turn, if you want to send us each table, you message us. I promise you, we will do an in-depth review of these tables if you send them to us.
We are not greedy. If you just want to send one, we can share.
Yeah, you want to send us one, we'll work something. Him and I will work something out.
Yes, for sure. Make sure it's red, though. Just throw that out there.
Actually, it's not going to be red. There's two colors. There's the same color that I have on my table. That's like the brown natural one.
Green.
And then there's kind of like a grayish one.
Oh, in that case, we'll take the gray one.
We'll take the brown one. So, all right, guys, keep those turntables spinning. Keep loving the music. Keep spreading the word. Keep collecting. Whatever makes you happy in this world.
And there's always more vinyl.
There's always more vinyl.